Roethlisberger. End zone, corner, adjustment, Deontay Johnson. Touchdown. Hawk has it blocked. It's scooped up for a score. Touchdown. Ulysses Gilbert the third. Allen is dumped by T.J. Watt. Final score, the Steelers 23, the Bills 16.
So we couldn't allow our defense to wear down. I can't say enough about the number of people that we played up front and the way that they collectively got after them. You know, those three edge guys, those three edge guys that you guys been asking a lot about, Watt and Highsmith and Ingram, they delivered today.
Everybody, happy Victory Monday, the first of the 2021 season. I'm Missi Matthews, and welcome to the Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface. We have a lot to get to. Of course, what Coach Tomlin said about that Steelers defense and how they did not give up yesterday against the Bills' high-powered offense, winning 23-16. Let's introduce you to my panel today. Bob Labriola, always cheerful on Victory Monday, getting the thumbs up from him. Craig Wolfley as well. He was in his home state and hometown of Buffalo, but happy to bring that win back to Pittsburgh. And a big weekend for Arthur Moats, our other panelist, Hall of Famer at James Madison University. Used to be a Bill, but proud to be a Steeler as well. And of course, Victory Monday is always a little extra sweet, right, Arthur?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, Arthur, we're going to start with you. We got to start with the Steelers defense. Coach Tomlin was talking about T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Melvin Ingram. And when you look at the snap count, T.J. Watt played 69 snaps. That's 81%. We had Ingram with 54, Alex Highsmith with 46. What did you like about this defensive plan and what they were able to do to stop Josh Allen?
Yeah, first off, in terms of that rotation, I absolutely loved it. I thought that it, number one, kept TJ fresh, but number two, it allowed Melvin and Alex to continue their rapport because we've seen a lot of them together in training camp in the preseason. But I thought as a whole, all three of those guys made plays in the run game, they made plays in the pass game, and they drew a ton of holding penalties. I mean, I don't think that their impact can be stated enough. I thought that they provided that wave that the rest of the defense was able to ride off of. And in terms of their approach to Josh Allen, when you create that type of situation where he's not able to extend plays, man, you force him to be a pocket passer, and that's where he struggled at yesterday.
Wolf, we also saw a lot of rotation and some breaks between the D-line, the Cam Haywards and Tyson Alualus. We saw Carlos Davis in there, Chris Wormley. Of course, we know Stephon Tuitt is on IR. Just a monster game from Cam Hayward. What did you like about the play of those guys?
You know what I loved is how well they run support each other. You know, the thing about it is if you go in and you want to write a textbook on how to lock out, leverage your body, and create that run gap fit, that you can say, okay, fellas, everybody pay attention to 9-7 here, okay? This is what it looks like, right? 9-4, this is what it looks like to lock out, make one of those massive Buffalo offensive linemen who looks like a sumo tori in Japan, right? Get these big sumo guys and not give any ground at the point of attack, and you're able to stay and lock out and move down the line of scrimmage, and he's a textbook. He is absolutely a textbook, and I really admired the way, defensively speaking, against the run for the most part, with a couple breakdowns there were, but for the most part, Tyson and Cam Hayward really were textbook clinic guys with those massive inside offensive linemen and just holding the ground. It was really, I thought, a great job.
Labs, when you look at the snap count, Trey Norwood, the rookie, we saw a lot of him yesterday as well. What did you like in terms of the game plan the Steelers defense did and able to slow down what was one of the top offenses in 2020?
Well, you know, just to go back and speaking about the game plan, I just want to go back real quick to the guys up front. The Steelers got a lot of pressure on Josh Allen, only rushing 4. I mean, I saw a lot of stats after the game about, you know, percentage of blitzing, how it was, you know, among the lowest percentage of blitzes the Steelers have used in a game, you know, in recent memories. So if you're only rushing 4, that means you have 7 guys to cover. And I thought they did an outstanding job on a group of receivers that when you look at the game in 2020, those Bills receivers really, in my opinion, had their way with the Steelers pass defense, especially in the second half. But when you didn't have to blitz, you only had to rush 4. I thought that especially keeping Stephon Diggs in check. You know, he did have 9 catches, but he averaged less than 8 yards of reception. That's excellent work on a guy like that.
All right, Arthur, going into this game, if you turned on any national sports broadcast, everybody was picking the Bills to win, a team a lot of people are saying is going to represent the AFC potentially in the Super Bowl, and by about 30 points. We know that is not the case. Do you feel like this defense is underappreciated or not getting enough love?
Yeah, to an extent, I do feel like that, because we know anytime you have a performance like yesterday, part of it will be where they talk more so negatively about Buffalo. But I don't think that the negative from Buffalo had anything to do with Cam Sutton's 3rd and 1, where he gets the PB on Stephon Diggs on the flea flicker. I don't think that, Cam Sutton's tackle on 4th and 1, when they decided to go for it with the throwback across the field, one-on-one situation. When Cam Sutton made that play, that's not on Buffalo. That's on Cam Sutton reading it, reacted, and ultimately finishing. So with that, absolutely, this group is still underrated, but I'm excited about them going forward, because that was a great first test. But once again, it's the first one. We got to continue to see them do that. But I thought as a whole, man, they played really well.
Well, what do you think in terms of this unit, knowing there's no Bud Dupree, there's no Mike Hilton, and as we said, Stephon Tuitt's on IR currently?
It's marvelous the way everybody steps up. Everybody steps up. You got people able to step up like Tyson Alualu. You got Carlos Davis did some things. Isaiah Buggs did a couple of good things out there, but it's the Cam Haywards. It's the big 3 of the rotation of those guys coming. Watching tape of Buffalo early on, you looked at Deion Dawkins, you looked at Darrell Williams, and you see 2 guys that are inviting the upfield rush, and for hand fighters who can shave and run the arc tight. They are absolutely made to order for the hello. Can you say TJ Watt? Can you say Alex I. Smith and Mel Ingram? They're made to order for him. And you saw it, 6 holding calls, getting, whether shaving the arc or going back to the inside. It was just made to order. And defensively speaking, the fact that you could have a Devin Bush step up and do what he did. Or, hey, let's talk Minkah Fitzpatrick. Did you see some of the funky stuff he was doing at the back end? 10 tackles. This guy was just all over the place. So they can, as a group, these guys are coming together, but they are going to get better as we go along. This is, as Arthur said, this is just the start of it. Hope to see it keep continuing as it is, which I expect it should. But these guys really kind of got me excited because they're looking really good yesterday.
All right, Labs, as you said in Labriola on, Coach Tomlin called it. TJ Watt having a big game yesterday after missing a ton of practice with his team during contract negotiations. Let's take a listen to number 90 following yesterday's win in Buffalo.
I think the play before it was I came up and under the tackle I shouldn't have, and Minkah came down like a missile from the middle of the field and made it 4th and 1. So just plays like that were happening all day where I'm so excited to get back and watch the film because there's tremendous plays like that all over. And then Cam Sutton made a tremendous play on that 4th and 1 as well to give the ball back to our offense.
All right, guys, I want to play fill in the gap. My question for you in this segment is, who does your game ball go to on defense? TJ Watt could be one of them. There is a number of guys. Labs, will start with you. Who's getting your defensive game ball today?
Well, all apologies to Cam Sutton, who I thought played outstanding. I'm going to give it to TJ Watt only because the difference to me was he was an addition to the unit recently upon signing his contract. You really didn't know what to expect from him. I thought he brought an energy and a level of production that the unit desperately needed. I'm going to give it to TJ Watt.
All right, Wolf, who are you giving your defensive game ball to?
You got to go with Cam Sutton. 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, couple pass defenses, the flea flicker, that tackle on Matt Breida. When Arthur knows this because he had to do those drills where you got to gain ground on your opponent while the ball is in the air. That means you got to see it, you got to do it. And that's a play that Buffalo had not shown. That was speculation or the coaches believing in the preseason they'd seen that bunch formation and watch Josh Allen underneath, hand off to a fullback. But no, they said, the next evolution of that formation is going to be a throwback to Breida and get him on the outside or a toss, whatever. And you know what? Cam Sutton took that information and used it in split-second timing. I got to go with Cam Sutton.
All right, Arthur, you're the defensive guy, so we're going to let you go last. Who gets your game ball?
Hey, I love it. And first off, man, I love the TJ Watt. I love the Cam Sutton, but I'm going with the most underrated superstar in the NFL, Cam Hayward. Did you see the amount of pressure that he created up front? The QB hits, the sacks. I mean, he's the leader of that group. You see, he sets the tone. No to it, no problem. Cam elevated his play. To me, one of the finest performances I've ever seen from Cam Hayward as a Pittsburgh Steelers. So to me, he gets my game ball.
All right, guys, enough talk about defense. We are going to take a quick break. When we return here on the Extra Point, let's talk about the Steelers offense. A slow start to the game. Of course, it ended in a victory. The Bills were leading 10-0 at halftime. Let's talk about the comeback from the Steelers offense and what you think of their new O-line and rookie Najee Harris. We'll be right back.
We had a lot of first-timers out there, and that's a hostile place. Those fans are awesome. They were loud. It was very, very loud. Pat grabbed me afterwards, like, holy cow, it's loud out there. I said, yeah, that's welcome to the NFL. The fact that you come in at halftime, it wasn't like there was a big rah-rah. No one really spoke and acted crazy. It was just, okay, this is what we're going to do in the second half. Let's go do it.
All right, let's do it. Welcome back to the Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface. There you heard from quarterback Ben Roethlisberger and Labs. The slow start, but they made it work. They got points on the board when they needed to in the second half. What do you make of the offensive performance yesterday?
Well, I mean, what I liked was they stuck with it. They didn't really hurt themselves. A lot of shooting themselves in the foot with turnovers. A lot of false start penalties. A lot of that kind of what I refer to as slappiness. There wasn't too much of that, if at any, in some of the different categories. And I really liked the way Ben played. I mean, he was just, in that audio we just heard from him talking about the crowd noise, and having Ben there is a steadying influence, I'm sure, for a lot of those young players along the offensive line, the receivers, and when he needed to make some throws, he made some throws. And so I always say there's a difference between playing quarterback and being a quarterback. Ben was a quarterback yesterday. He did more than just play the position. He led. He was an example. He was a steadying force. Really good game by him, in my opinion.
Wolf, after the game, Najee Harris said that it was calm in the locker room at halftime, and they knew going in there would be some growing pains. So as our O-line expert and running back expert, what do you make of those rookies, the four of them on offense that had a chance to start, and what they were able to contribute and maybe calm down as things went on?
Missy, I think every fan that, is a Steelers fan, you had to sit there and go with trepidation, thinking you're going into just a tsunami of sound washing down. I mean, that stadium up there is so loud. And when you get near the end zones, it becomes deafening. I remember the last time I played there as a player, the only first downs that we got in the first half, one first down, was when Mike Webster squeezed the ball 2 times on Freddie Smirlis, the nose tackle, who jumped off sides, who then proceeded to get into a scrap with Jim Haslett, his teammate, in the huddle, which was rather humorous to us as we're standing on the other side of the ball watching those two yell at each other and shove each other. But the fact is, that's how loud it gets. You can't hear nothing. And so, for them to hold their water and do what they did, I thought was remarkable. Kendrick did a great job, I thought, as the first time out in having to play in silent count the entire game. I mean, that's hard. That is hard to do. It's hard to hold your water. Overall, it was a little bit non-rhythmical, but they kept at it. They stayed with it. They worked hard. They did their job as best they could. They're going to get better. This is a group that's really going to come around. I'm excited because out of the 4, you got 4 new guys, and out of that 4 new guys, you got 2 newbies who are rookies, and they're making starts in a very hostile environment. I thought they really did a good job of slugging it out, staying with it. And again, like I say, with Najee, they're going to get better. We just saw Najee scratch the surface a little bit towards the end. He came through with big plays when the Steelers needed a big play. So I want to hang with these guys. These guys they're fighters.
Arthur, at halftime, Coach Tomlin said it was varsity defense versus varsity defense, and that's kind of how that game was dictated in the first half. Knowing that, how much did the Steelers wide receivers, Deontay Johnson, of course, with the touchdown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Chase Claypool with some of their clutch catches help this offense go?
And I thought that they performed really well, especially when you talk about the jump ball catch that Claypool had. We like to call it just dunking on a guy, right? We went up on Tre'Davious White, an all-pro in his own regard. But those are the timely plays that the Steelers made offensively that the Bills just didn't make against the Steelers defense, and ultimately why we tip our cap to us defensively. But I thought, man, Claypool, Deontay, and Juju, all three of those guys making timely catches, combat catches on that Bills defense was ultimately the deciding factor in there.
All right, fill the gap offensive style. Labs, we'll start with you. Who's getting your offensive game ball for the Sunday's win in Buffalo?
Well, I gave it away already. I'm giving it to the quarterback.
I shouldn't have let you go first, but that's my fault. Go ahead.
But I mean, as I said, he was what the Steelers needed in that particular game at any particular moment. I mean, Mike Tomlin talks about that a lot. I've asked him a lot of times before games, what do you need from Ben today? And what he will usually say is, I need him to be Ben. And that's what he was. He made plays when it was required, and he didn't make mistakes all of the other time. And as I said earlier, I do believe that having him there, either in the huddle, at the line of scrimmage, on the sideline, whatever, a lot of those young guys could look at him and see how he conducted himself, the calm, the poise, and I think that rubs off.
All right, Arthur, I won't make you go last again. My apologies for going with the same order. Who's getting your offensive game ball?
Well, first off, I appreciate that. I'm a defensive guy. You can't be giving all these offensive guys that type of love. But Chase Claypool, to me, the reverse that he had, the 25-yard run, I thought that was a big-time explosive play. And he had multiple clutch catches. We talked about the one on Tre'Davious White in the beginning of the second half. Then, obviously, he had the catch to ice the game at the end going away. To me, man, those are the timely things that he did. And he did that while still having a little bit of negativity, right? He had a penalty early on himself. He could have got down to the dumps, but he didn't. He responded and kept being productive. So, for me, he gets my game ball on offense.
All right, Wolf, last but not least, who's getting your game ball on offense?
Oh, there's several guys that, I think really merit attention, but, it's Ben. I mean, again, what are you going to say? I've been in the huddle with quarterbacks who stammered on third down in raucous stadiums, hostile environments, and they're trying to get the play out. And it's like, yeah, we'll go on, and oh boy, we got some problems. But when you have a quarterback like Ben, back in the day, it was the blonde bomber, Terry Bradshaw. You okay, Hoss? You all right? Yeah, good. All right, let's go. I mean, that's the calmness. That's the greatness about players like that. When you have that sort of guy in the huddle with that sort of magic, anything's possible. And you always know that this guy can give you whatever, like Bob said, whatever's needed at that moment. It might statistically might not play out well as far as percentages and all that stuff. But when it comes down to crunch time and you need that throw, you need that call, you need that whatever he can deliver, that's the guy. Ben delivered yet again, and that's why he's going to be a Hall of Famer someday.
All right, we have to take one more quick break here on the Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface. We've talked about individual players, individual units. When we return, I want to know what you learned about the Steelers team as a whole in Week 1 of the 2021 season. We'll get to that when we return. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Extra Point, everybody. What did we learn about the Pittsburgh Steelers in Week 1? Our panelists are here to dive into that one for us. Arthur, you get to go first this time. I made notes to not screw you up here. So what did you learn about the Steelers team in Buffalo?
Well, number one, offensively, they are a resilient group and mentally tough, especially up front. They could have easily packed it in. They struggled. At times in the first half up front, they were getting beat up. But to see how they continue to respond, continuing to be physical, even when it wasn't working out the best, to me, that shows a ton for them mentally. And like I said, I like that resilience with them. And then defensively, they got playmakers at all three levels. And I think that that's going to continue to become more present now that the season is here.
All right, Wolf, what did you learn about the Steelers?
Number one, that Danny Smith can chew more bubble gum than any human being I've ever seen in my life. And number two, that he is a great special teams coach. This is a special teams unit. Think about this. You got a rookie snapper with a rookie holder with the Wizard of Oz kicking. He drops a 45-yarder in there with 2:42 left on the clock into the face of a wind that was approaching at times 17, 20 miles an hour. You got a Presley Harvin, a young guy there. Yeah, you know what? He had a Shankopotamus there, but he comes back with a 46, 51-yarder, averaging over 40 yards. And, of course, the Wizard of Oz was 5 for 5. The special teams unit, to me, overall, right now, I'm so excited about it. Yeah, I know what happened on the initial kickoff. That was a bummer. But after that, things kind of settled down quite a bit. And I think the special teams are looking pretty good this early in the season.
All right, Labs, what did you learn on Sunday?
Well, I don't know if I learned it as much as it was confirmed for me. This team will compete. This team shows up. You know, sleep on this team at your own peril. If you're an opponent on this Steelers schedule, they don't, as Mike Tomlin says, I'll cut your eyelids off if you blink. They don't blink. They don't quit. Very resilient. And, you know, I just like the way that they compete. And I think that when you have that competitive fire and you have some of the talent, the kind of talent this team has, they have a chance against anybody they play.
And they all said pretty much after the game, just scratching the surface, a lot to improve on, whether it was an offensive or a defensive guy. I think we can all agree to that. But in terms of their social media presence and celebrating the win that nobody saw coming, probably other than them, a lot of players excited for that one, talking about excited for week 2 coming home to Heinz Field as well. Trey Turner getting his first win with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as we said, a lot of good things that happened. They stuck it out together. As Micah Fitzpatrick said, loved this team. Jerome Bettis even talking about what a great win it was on the road. And as Wolf said, it was not only windy, it was extremely loud until probably about 5:32 left in the game is when I finally could talk to Max Starks without talking to him through a microphone and a headset. I could actually just talk to him in person. So that's how crazy it was down there on the sidelines. Guys, thanks for all of your help today on the Extra Point. Appreciate your time. For Bob, Wolf, and Moats, I'm Missy. Thanks for joining us. We'll see everybody back here next Monday.
What's up, Steeler Nation? It's Terrell Edmonds. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers official YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on everything going on in the Steel City. Thanks for being the best fans in football, and here we go.